The Dead Sea is surrounded by caves. Climbed into the cave, they found huge clay jars.
As the Dead Sea continues to dry up, it's revealing secrets that have stunned the world, from eerie remnants of life in its depths to ancient shipwrecks and mysterious artifacts. These discoveries are nothing short of extraordinary. What hidden wonders are emerging from the depths of history, and what do they mean for the future? Join us as we uncover the strangest and most fascinating things that have surfaced as the Dead Sea dries. Number 20. 3 ancient swords. Israeli researchers found 4 very well-preserved Roman swords in a cave near the Dead Sea. These ancient swords, which are about 1,900 years old, were discovered by a team that was photographing an old inscription in the cave. 3 of the swords still had their scabbards. The swords were hidden in a hard-to-reach crack in the cave. Archaeologists think Judean rebels took these swords from Roman soldiers and then hid them in the cave to use later. Eli Escusido, the director of the Israel Antiquities Authority, called this discovery dramatic and exciting. He explained that the dry desert air helped keep the swords and other artifacts in great shape, like a special time capsule. The cave, located high on a cliff above the Dead Sea, had already been explored 50 years ago when a stalactite with ancient Hebrew writing was found. Archaeologist Dr. Asaf Geyer and his team returned to the cave to try to read more of the old writing using special cameras when they found a Roman javelin called Opium and parts of the wooden scabbards. The team then brought more experts to search the cave, leading to the discovery of the swords. 3 of the swords were identified as Roman spatha, which are long swords, and the 4th was a shorter ring pommel sword. The swords had well-made handles from wood or metal. The discovery of these swords and the pilum suggests they were taken from Roman soldiers and hidden for later use, possibly during the Bar Kokhba revolt against the Roman Empire in Judea. Number 19. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls are very old manuscripts discovered between 1947 and 1956 in 11 caves near Khirbet Qumran on the northwestern shores of the Dead Sea. These scrolls are about 2,000 years old, dating from the 3rd century BCE to the 1st century CE. Most of them were written in Hebrew, with some in Aramaic or Greek. They were mostly written on parchment, with a few on papyrus. The scrolls mostly survived as small fragments, but a few were found whole. Even with these tiny pieces, experts have managed to put together about 1915 different manuscripts of various lengths. The manuscripts are divided into 3 main groups: biblical, apocryphal, and sectarian. The biblical manuscripts include around 200 copies of books from the Hebrew Bible, which are the oldest evidence of the Bible's text. The apocryphal manuscripts contain works not included in the Jewish Bible, some of which were previously unknown. The sectarian manuscripts show different types of writing, like biblical commentary, religious laws, prayer texts, and stories about the end of the world. Most experts believe that these scrolls were part of a library belonging to a religious group that lived at Qumran. However, it seems that the people at Qumran wrote only some of the scrolls, with the others being written or copied elsewhere. The discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls is a huge moment in the study of Jewish history because such a large collection of ancient writings had never been found before. These amazing finds have greatly increased our understanding of Jewish life in ancient Israel during the Hellenistic and Roman periods, and they have also taught us more about the beginnings of rabbinical Judaism and early Christianity. The first 7 Dead Sea Scrolls were found by chance in 1947 by Bedouins in a cave near Khirbet Qumran on the northwest shore of the Dead Sea. 3 of the scrolls were quickly bought by an archaeologist named E.L. Sukenik for the Hebrew University. The other 4 scrolls were purchased by Mar Athanasius Samuel, the leader of the Syrian Orthodox Church in East Jerusalem. In 1948, Samuel secretly took the 4 scrolls to the United States. It wasn't until 1954 that Yigael Yadin, Sukenik's son and also an archaeologist, was able to bring them back to Israel. Over the next few years, from 1949 to 1956, more fragments of about 950 different scrolls were found by Bedouins and by a team of archaeologists from the École biblique et archéologique française and the Rockefeller Museum, led by Professor Father Roland Deveau. Since then, no more scrolls have been found, though archaeologists continue to search the area. Number 18. Ancient Shipwreck. In 2023, during an environmental survey by Energean, a gas company, an ancient shipwreck was discovered while they were searching for areas to protect before constructing a new gas field. As they reviewed the sonar images of the seabed, they spotted a cluster of jars protruding from the ocean floor, which led to the incredible discovery of this ancient shipwreck. On May 30th, 2024, archaeologist Jacob Sharvat from the Israel Antiquities Authority and Karnit Bahartan, an environmental expert, carefully looked at two old Canaanite jars that had been brought up from the Mediterranean Sea. These jars had been buried more than a mile deep underwater for over 3,200 years, and they came from a ship that sank during the Bronze Age. This special ship is the only one from that time found in deep water. Most other ships from the late Bronze Age have been found in shallow waters close to the shore. The ship carried many jars, called amphorae, which were used to store things like olive oil, wine, and other goods. These jars were traded across the Mediterranean, connecting places like Greece, Cyprus, and Egypt. The archaeologists, along with a team from an offshore gas company, worked together to bring the jars up from the seafloor. The jars have a unique shape with pointy or rounded bottoms, so they wouldn't tip over and break on the ship. Based on their shape and design, experts think the jars are from around 1400 to 1200 BCE. They used a special robot to dive deep into the sea and carefully retrieve the jars. They hope to learn more about the ship and its crew, and where the jars came from by studying the materials and any remaining contents inside the jars. The archaeologists might not return to this site, but in the future, other researchers could continue the work and uncover more secrets hidden deep under the sea. Number 17. Ancient Burial Cave. A team of archaeologists had a thrilling adventure last week when they discovered a hidden cave at Palmakim National Park, south of Tel Aviv. This cave is 3,300 years old and dates back to the late Bronze Age, around the time of the famous Pharaoh Ramses II. The cave was found by accident when a rock moved during construction work. The archaeologists were amazed to see a burial site that had been untouched for over 3,000 years. Inside the cave, they found many pottery vessels, bowls, cooking pots, jugs, and oil lamps. Some of these were painted red or still had burnt wicks. They also discovered what might have been a quiver with bronze arrowheads or spearheads. The cave is part of Palmakim National Park, which has many ancient ruins, including a fortress from 3,500 years ago. Archaeologists have been studying this area for a long time and have found many interesting things. The pottery and items found in the cave show that people traded with faraway places like Cyprus and Syria. This was during the time when Egypt, led by Ramses II, controlled Canaan and helped trade flourish. Unfortunately, before the cave could be properly sealed, some items were stolen. The authorities are investigating this theft. Now the archaeologists and universities are planning a full excavation to learn more about this amazing discovery. Number 16. Ancient date seed that sprouts into a tree. This ancient date seeds were found during an archaeological dig led by Professor Yigal Yadin at Masada, King Herod's palace near the Dead Sea. The seeds had been buried under rubble for hundreds of years. After being found, the seeds were kept safe in storage for over 40 years. Then, in 2005, Dr. Sarah Salin from the Louis L. Borick Natural Medicine Research Center decided to try something unbelievable: to grow a plant from one of these ancient seeds. First, she soaked the seeds in special water and fertilizer. Then she planted them in clean soil. Later that year, something amazing happened. One of the ancient seeds started to grow. This made it the oldest seed in the world to successfully sprout into a plant, and Dr. Salin named the little tree Methuselah after the oldest person mentioned in the Bible. When the news about Methuselah was shared in the journal Science in 2008, People from all over the world became interested in the story. Methuselah even made it into the Guinness Book of World Records. In November 2011, Methuselah was moved from its pot in the greenhouse to its new home at Kibbutz Keturah during a special ceremony. This type of date palm was once common in ancient Judea, but disappeared many years ago. Its image appeared on coins and in synagogues, and its fruit was famous for being delicious, large, and full of health benefits. Thanks to the successful sprouting of Methuselah, Dr. Saloui has also grown 6 more date palms from other ancient seeds. This brings hope that these ancient date trees, once thought to be lost forever, can live again and produce the same tasty and healthy dates enjoyed by people thousands of years ago. Number 15. Mystery Jug. Archaeologists in southern Israel have discovered a very old piece of pottery with writing on it. This piece is about 3,100 years old and has 5 letters that might spell out the name Jerubbaal or Yerubbaal. In the Bible, Jerubbaal is another name for a leader named Gideon. This is the first time this name has been found outside of the Bible, so the archaeologists are excited but not sure if it's the same Gideon. The team found this old pottery in the Shaharia forest in 2019. They figured out how old it was by looking at other pottery and using special tests. The pottery dates back to about 1100 BC, which matches the time mentioned in the Bible's book of Judges. This book talks about the history of the Israelites from their arrival in Canaan to when Saul became their king. The researchers, Yosef Garfinkel and Sa'ar Ganner from Hebrew University, say it's interesting to find the name Jerubbaal from the Bible in real-life artifacts. But they also point out that the name might belong to a different Jerubbaal, as Gideon was said to live far from where the jug was found. The jug, which could hold about 1 liter, might have contained something valuable like oil, perfume, or medicine. The writing on it has some letters and parts of other letters, suggesting there was more writing that is now missing. Number 14. Ancient Mosque. Israeli archaeologists have discovered a very old and rare mosque in the southern part of the country. This mosque, believed to be more than 1,200 years old, was found while workers were building a new neighborhood in the Bedouin city of Rahat, located in the Negev desert. The Israel Antiquities Authority shared that the mosque had a square room with a wall facing Mecca. In this wall, there was a half-circle niche that pointed south, which is a key feature of mosques. The IIAAI explained that these unique features show that the building was indeed used as a mosque, likely holding a few dozen worshippers at a time. Nearby, archaeologists also found a fancy estate building, filled with pieces of tableware and glass items that suggest the people who lived there were very wealthy. 3 years ago, another mosque from the same time period was discovered close by. The IAA said that these 2 mosques are among the oldest known in the world. The discovery of these mosques, along with the estate and other homes, sheds light on the big changes that happened in the northern Negev, when Islam became the new religion and culture in the area. Before this, the region had been ruled by the Byzantine Empire and was mostly Christian for hundreds of years. Number 13. Ancient Gate. A really old gate, about 5,500 years old, was found at Tel Irani in Israel. This gate is the oldest one discovered in the country and is even older than another famous gate by about 300 years. The gate was found while digging to put in a new water pipe near Kiryat Gat. The team also discovered parts of an old city wall and towers made of big stones that were part of this ancient city. The gate was around 5 feet tall and had 2 big towers on either side. It was built with large stones and mud bricks and was connected to the city walls found before. This gate was probably used for a long time as new settlements came and went. After the discovery, the gate was covered again to protect it from the weather, and the water pipe was moved. They also found a complete jar made of alabaster and some red bowls. Tel Irani was an important early city and part of a bigger network of settlements. Number 12. 14th century opium. In 2012, archaeologists started digging at Tel Yehud before new houses were built there. they found several old graves from the late Bronze Age and some pottery placed in the graves as gifts for the dead. Some of these jars came from a place called Cyprus and are called base ring juglets. These jars were found to have opium residue inside them, making this the first time opium was found in such pottery and the earliest evidence of hallucinogenic drug use in the world. The jars are from around 3,400 years ago and were found in graves of people who lived in a place called Canaan. It seems they used opium in special ceremonies for their loved ones who had passed away. The jars that held the opium look like poppy flowers when they are upside down, leading experts to believe, even back in the 1800s, that these jars might have been used to hold the drug during special rituals. This discovery shows that opium was very important in the ancient world, especially in the Near East, where it was traded and used in rituals. In ancient Canaan, people believed in treating their dead relatives with great care, often holding ceremonies where they offered food, drinks, and maybe even opium. The opium could have been used by the people in the ceremony to try to communicate with the spirits of their loved ones, or to help the spirits move on to the next life. Dr. Ronbay Eerie from the Israel Antiquities Authority adds that while we don't have exact records of how opium was used in these ceremonies, it's clear that the Canaanites believed it was important to take care of their dead, hoping the spirits would protect their living relatives in return. Eli Escocido, director of the Israel Antiquities Authority, says that new science is helping us discover amazing things and answer questions we never thought we could before. Who knows what other secrets are waiting to be found underground in the future? Number 11. Strange-looking Neanderthals. Found in Israel. Researchers discovered old fossils and tools in a limestone quarry in central Israel. The fossils were found in a sinkhole by construction workers in 2010. Over the next few years, archaeologist Yossi Zeidner and his team carefully dug up the site at Nesher Ramla. They found parts of an ancient skull, a jawbone, and a tooth, all from the same person. They also found animal bones and stone tools from the same time, around 120,000 to 140,000 years ago. The stone tools were made using a special method called the Levallois technique. This method was used by both early humans and Neanderthals. But the fossils didn't match the usual looks of either group. They had a strange mix of features that were both old and Neanderthal-like. The jawbone and tooth were similar to Neanderthals, but the skull bones were thicker, more like early human species. This mix of traits suggests that these fossils might be from a new group of ancient humans or a mix between Neanderthals and another early human group. Some researchers believe these fossils could be from a group that helped create Neanderthals in Europe and Asia. However, other experts think this idea might be too strong. They believe the fossils show that Neanderthals in the Middle East were different from those in Europe or were a mix of different groups. Number 10. Ancient magical bowls. In 2022, a special collection of magical bowls was discovered in Jerusalem. These bowls are about 1,500 years old and have spells written in Hebrew and Babylonian Aramaic. They were also called swearing bowls and were used as charms to protect people from curses, demons, diseases, and pests. People often buried these bowls under the floors of their homes to keep their families safe. The bowls were decorated with special words and pictures, depending on what the owner needed. One bowl even had a drawing of a night demon, which was meant to protect against a particular type of scary spirit. Number 9. Siloam Pool. In 2004, archaeologists in Jerusalem made an exciting discovery. They found the remains of the Siloam Pool, a special place mentioned in the Bible, where Jesus is said to have healed a blind man. This pool was used by Jewish people for important rituals over 2,000 years ago. The pool was found in the Arab neighborhood of Siloam. It was used by Jewish people for a ritual called immersion, which means dipping themselves in water to prepare for visiting the temple. This practice lasted until the year 70, when the Romans destroyed the temple. The pool is about 50 yards long and had a channel bringing in fresh water from a nearby spring. Archaeologists also uncovered part of a road that connected the pool to the temple. Eli Shukran, one of the archaeologists, said they were sure this was the Siloam Pool as soon as they uncovered it. The pool was important because it was connected to the Temple Mount, where people went for religious ceremonies. The pool's water was considered very pure and could even heal people with illnesses, like leprosy. Jesus might have used this pure water to heal the blind man, making it a special place for miracles. The archaeologists found old coins, pottery shards, and a stone bottle cork at the site. These items helped confirm that the pool was indeed the Siloam Pool. The pool had steps on all sides and was surrounded by a stone pathway and a water channel. Jewish people who visited Jerusalem for religious festivals would use the pool to prepare before going to the temple. They also drank water from the pool and camped around it. The archaeologists are still working to uncover more of the pool, which is covered by a garden and trees. They hope to connect the pool's steps with the rest of the site to better understand its size and importance. Number 8. 1,800-year-old Roman military. Archaeologists recently uncovered the remains of a 1,800-year-old Roman military base near Tme Cave, Israel. This ancient base belonged to the 7th Farada Iron Legion, a group of over 5,000 Roman soldiers. The discovery was made during a big road construction project, giving the Israel Antiquities Authority a special chance to dig deeper into the site. The excavation was led by Dr. Yodam Tepper and Barak Zin. As they dug, they found impressive remains, like the main road of the camp called the Via Praetoria, a large public building and many stone-paved areas. One of the most exciting discoveries was the large amount of roof tiles, some stamped with the 6th Legion's mark. These tiles were used for roofing, paving floors, and even coating walls, showing the unique building techniques of the Roman army. The Roman base was a permanent camp for nearly 200 years, from 117 and 120 BCE to around 300 CE. It was a key location where roads crossed, leading to important cities in the region. The IAA had known about the base since 2015, but thanks to the road construction, they could explore it fully. Over the last decade, several surveys and digs had been done in the area as part of the Jezreel Valley Regional Project. The discovery of this base is rare and important because it's one of the largest Roman military bases ever found in Israel. The site also includes many other finds, like coins, weapons, pottery, and glass fragments, which help us understand more about the Roman soldiers who lived there. The nearby Megiddo National Park, a World Heritage Site, and one of the oldest Christian prayer halls in the Megiddo prison compound, make this area even more important. The IAA is working with others to decide how best to preserve and share this amazing historical site with visitors. Number 7. Ancient Ivorys. A team of Israeli archaeologists made a fantastic discovery in 2022 at the Givati parking lot in the city of David, just outside Jerusalem. They found a collection of ivory plaques that are 3,300 years old from the First Temple period. This is the first time such plaques have been found in Jerusalem. The ivory plaques were discovered during an excavation by the Israeli Antiquities Authority and Tel Aviv University. The dig was funded by the City of David Foundation. The plaques were found in the ruins of a grand building from the 8th to 7th centuries BCE, when Jerusalem was very powerful. At that time, ivory was incredibly valuable, worth even more than gold. Professor Yuval Gadot from Tel Aviv University said these ivories are very important and likely belong to someone very important. He was amazed because similar ivories were found in other ancient cities, but never in Jerusalem before. The plaques were probably used as decorations on wooden furniture owned by high-ranking officials or priests. The building is close to the Temple Mount, where ancient Israeli royalty might have lived. The excavation revealed about 1,500 tiny pieces of ivory, which were carefully cleaned and put back together by experts. The plaques feature beautiful designs like flowers and trees, similar to those from the Assyrian Empire, showing that Jerusalem was influenced by nearby cultures. Dr. Yifta Shalev from the IAA said the ivories show that Jerusalem was a prestigious city with important connections to other kingdoms. The ivories were made from elephant tusks and were likely carved by skilled artists from Assyria. Along with the ivory plaques, the archaeologists also found jars with vanilla-spiced wine, decorated stones, wooden objects, and a seal impression with the name Natan Melech, servant of the king. This seal might belong to the same Natan Melech mentioned in the Bible as an officer of King Josiah. Number 6. Life in the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is a special salt lake between Jordan and the Israeli-occupied West Bank. It's called dead because it's super salty, about 33.7% salt, which is way more than the sea, which has about 3.5 salt. Because of this high salt, not much can live in the Dead Sea. But scientists recently found something surprising. Although it's very salty, tiny living things called microbes can actually survive there. Since the 1930s, people have known that the Dead Sea isn't completely dead. These microbes don't mind the salt and can live in the salty environment without much competition. New discoveries show that there are hidden freshwater springs at the bottom of the Dead Sea. These springs come from deep underwater craters and are surrounded by interesting rock formations. The water around these springs is less salty, which allows some life to thrive there. So, even though the Dead Sea seems like a strange and salty place, it turns out that life finds a way to survive in unexpected places. Nature can be pretty amazing and full of surprises. Before we continue the video, let us have our subscribers pick for today. In the image on your screen, there's a strange creature being dug up from a drying river. While we can't confirm if the image is real, it's not unusual for surprising discoveries to happen in drying rivers. For example, as Lake Mead's water levels have dropped, Las Vegas officials have found several human remains. Recently, coroners identified the remains of Donald Smith, a 39-year-old man who drowned in April 1974. His body was discovered last October in Colville Bay, thanks to a diver's tip. This was the 6th set of remains found since May 2022, when a severe drought began lowering the lake's water levels. In addition to human remains, the receding waters have revealed a World War II-era boat and a B-29 bomber. One set of remains was found in a barrel, which historians think might be linked to mafia activities from the late 1970s or early 1980s. Another set belonged to Thomas Erndt, a 42-year-old who drowned in 2002. His family was relieved to finally have closure. The drought has significantly impacted Lake Mead, which is now only 26 full. This year's low water levels have exposed many hidden artifacts and remains. What do you think about these discoveries? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Number 5. Amulet with inscriptions. A small lead charm was found while digging through soil from Mount Ebal, which is also called Joshua's altar in northern Samaria. This charm has the name Yahweh, which is an old Hebrew name for God. It's believed to be the oldest known writing of this name. Before this, the oldest writings were silver charms found on Bible Hill in Jerusalem, which are about 600 years younger than this new find. Also, the name Yahweh has been found in ancient Egyptian pictures in northern Sudan, which used to be called Upper Egypt. Many people think this discovery shows that people have been worshiping this god for a very long time. Number 4. Tme Cave. The Tme Cave, also known as the Twins Cave, is a special cave located in Israel's Jerusalem mountains, close to Beit Shemesh. This cave is not just important for archaeology, it's also home to about 3,000 bats. The cave is 50 meters wide and 75 meters long, and it has a beautiful fig tree at its entrance. Inside, you'll find cool stalactites and stalagmites formed by water dripping through the limestone rock. The name Teomim means twins in Hebrew. There's an old local story about a woman who drank water from the cave and later had twins, which is why the cave got its name. The cave also has a deep pit and hidden chambers that make it even more mysterious. During the Bar Kokhba revolt, Jewish rebels were trying to escape from the Roman army and hid in secret places all over Judea. One of these secret hideouts was the Teomim Cave, a huge cave in the hills west of Jerusalem. Inside this cave, archaeologists found 3 piles of old coins, weapons, and pottery. These were left behind by the rebels, who used the cave as a safe place. But the Teomim Cave wasn't just a hiding spot for Jewish rebels. In ancient times, it was also used for different purposes. Researchers found that the cave was used as a pagan religious site during the late Roman and early Byzantine periods, which were from about the 2nd to 4th centuries CE. They discovered many old oil lamps and coins in the cave, placed in tricky spots. These finds suggest that the cave was used for worship, similar to other ancient sites dedicated to the goddesses Demeter and Persephone. The cave has been studied since 1873, and ongoing research continues to reveal its secrets. Number 3. Hamut G. This is a special place with hot springs in the Yarmouk River Valley near the Golan Heights and the border with Jordan. This site has been famous for its warm, healing waters for a long time. The hot springs were used for relaxation and health since ancient times. The Romans built a big bathhouse here in the 2nd century. They also made a theater and a synagogue with beautiful mosaics. Even though earthquakes in the 7th and 8th centuries caused damage, people continued to visit until the site was abandoned in the 9th century. After that, it got covered with silt. The name Hamut G means hot springs of Gader in ancient Hebrew. Nearby, you can find the ruins of the old city of Gadara. In the medieval period, people believed that the springs had magical powers. Archaeologists found many oil lamps in the cave that were used for ancient religious rituals. After World War II, the area was part of a no-fight zone, and before that, a small village called Al-Hama was there. Today, Hamut Gader is a fun place with hot springs, a crocodile farm with many crocodiles and alligators, and is a popular spot for visitors. Number 2. Inscribed Tablet. Archaeologists in Jerusalem's Old City found a 1,005-year-old mosaic floor with Greek writing on it while setting up communications cables. The Greek writing mentions 2 important figures, the 6th century Roman Emperor Justinian and Constantine, a church leader appointed by Justinian. Dr. Leah de Segni, who is an expert on Old Greek writing, read the inscription. It says, "The most pious Roman Emperor, Flavius Justinian, and the most God-loving priest and abbot, Constantine, built the building where this mosaic was found during the 14th indiction." The indiction is an old way of counting years used for taxes. This writing suggests the mosaic dates back to around the year 550 or 551 CE. The mosaic was found near the Damascus Gate in Jerusalem's Old City and was shown at the Rockefeller Museum in Jerusalem on August 23, 2017. The building where the mosaic was found was likely used as a place for pilgrims to stay. In the 1970s, a similar mosaic was found in the remains of the Nia Church, which was dedicated to Jesus' mother Mary and was a beautiful part of the Byzantine Empire. Number 1. Ancient earthquake discovery. In 2021, archaeologists found something really exciting in Jerusalem. They discovered signs of an earthquake that happened about 2,800 years ago in the city of David. This might match a big event talked about in the Hebrew Bible. While digging in the city of David National Park, the archaeologists found a whole layer of destruction from that time. They uncovered many broken things like bowls, lamps, cooking pots, and jars. These items were shattered when the walls of a building fell down. The archaeologists noticed there was no fire damage, which means the destruction was probably caused by an earthquake, not an attack by enemies. Other places in the region also have similar destruction layers from around the same time. This makes researchers think that this discovery could be proof of a biblical earthquake. The books of Amos and Zechariah in the Bible talk about earthquakes during the reign of King Uzziah in Jerusalem, which was the capital city of the Kingdom of Judah. Thank you for watching. See you next time.